I've been working in education since the early 1990s. During that time, I've taught a variety of science subjects from 5th grade to 12th grade, as well as undergraduate and graduate education and science methods courses. I started my career envisioning myself as a high school science teacher and wrestling coach. It didn't take long for that vision to shift as I matured and discovered who I was as an educator, but maybe more importantly, as a learner. Through it all, I've discovered that learning is best thought of as a journey, not a destination, and that learning is best done when there is a communal element. Some learning requires the individual to study, explore, struggle, and so on alone or in solitude, but eventually, there's almost always a communal aspect to learning. I've also discovered that the entire backdrop of my teaching career, and almost anyone teaching right now, is education reform. We are reforming the reforms, going back to a nation at risk in 1983, through methods that now appear to be long-forgotten fads, to national standards and legislative initiatives such as No Child Left Behind and Every Child Succeeds Act. I like to explain these continual efforts as reform with a golf metaphor. The most common flaw in the amateur golfer's game is a slice, when the shot curves away from the direction being aimed. This is caused by a flaw in the swing that results in the golf club slicing across the surface of the ball upon impact instead of hitting it flat. When this happens, it puts a side spin on the ball and causes it to curve away from the golfer's stance. So right-handed golfers such as myself slices to the right. It's easy to explain what the cause is, but it's difficult for the recreational golfer to get the muscle memory precise enough to eliminate this flaw from the swing. It is common then for the recreational golfer to compensate for this instead of fixing it. So he or she aims a little to the left, knowing that they won't hit it perfectly straight. So they compensate, aim left, and hope it curves back to the middle of the fairway when they hit off the tee box. This works until one of two things happens. There is an obstacle on the left, such as a tree, or your swing is unexpectedly perfect, and so you hit it straight and it doesn't curve back to the intended target. The worst thing that can happen for a golfer when trying to fix a slice, or frustrated because of a slice, is to then hit the ball harder. Of course, the more frustrated you get, the harder you tend to swing, and the worse the slice gets. I think this is what we're doing in education. Through all of our reform efforts, we often haven't really fixed the flaw in our swing. We've figured out how to compensate at times, or many of our students have figured out how to compensate for the slice. And it often does land in the fairway, and the students learn. But oftentimes we hit it straight, and then we miss the target. Or we get frustrated, and the more pressure we feel, we have to meet test scores, please parents, administrators, the harder we try, and the more we slice it into the woods. Working harder, but doing the same things, aren't going to get us to where we want to go, get us to the green, so to speak. As individual teachers, we need to make a choice to embrace what it means for students to really learn, which requires they have real, lived experiences to build and construct meaning about the things we as a society want them to learn, and do so in the context of learning of a learning community. If we can choose this path for our learning journey, for us and our students, then I believe we will see the results we have been looking for 30 plus, well, who am I kidding, for nearly 100 years of education reform.